video, you'll learn how to make this scale pop-in effect. We're going to use the noise to randomize our animation. We're going to learn what an outback cubic is on the graph editor. And we're also going to animate the camera on a path. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is our scene, and we are going to make a pop-in effect. We're going to scale this down to 0, then have it come back in. And we're going to use like an outback cubic motion. That's the way it is called in DaVinci Resolve. But it simply means that the graph overshoots a little bit than the original keyframes we placed. And then it goes back to the size that we want it to. So let's say we have 0% and 100%. It overshoots to 110% and then reverts back to 100%. And this makes it look like it's popping in. And I actually use this quite often in my videos as well, where I add text effects, for example. Anyway, we are going to place the camera right here because this is going to be the backdrop where everything is happening on. And now I'm going to take this can. I'm going over into the graph editor, and as you can see, we have everything locked, which means that we cannot delete our keyframes when everything is locked. So I'm going to unlock everything, go back to the timeline, select all these keyframes, make sure we're on the last one because I want it to be standing straight, and delete all the keyframes. Now we're going to do the same for all the other cans. A very simple process, going into the graph editor, making sure that everything is unlocked, going into the timeline, deleting all the keyframes. Going to press on 0. This is what our camera looks like. I'm going to take this can, rotate it around the x-axis, the y-axis, and bring it closer to us simply by manipulating the location axis. And I think this is around the size that I want it to be in the final render. What I'm going to do is I like the white background setup that we've got over here. So I'm not actually going to change that. I'm just going to duplicate this light and bring it over here. So now we have some cool lighting on our can as well. And maybe we can do the same with this one and add it as well. Let's see what it does for us. This one doesn't add too much, but we're just going to leave it there. Maybe it will work better on the other cans. Now, for the animation, what do we want to do? We want to have this start from 0, go to 110%, and then go to 100%. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going over to frame 15, because I think that will be quick enough for us to use this animation. And I'm going to press I, location, rotation, and scale. And then on frame 0, I'm going to click on S, 0. So I'm going to scale it down to 0. I, location, rotation, and scale. So now, yay, it's popping in, but it's very linear and it's very boring. So this is not the way that we want it to look. We want to go into the graph editor. And now I'm going to teach you about the outback cubic method. So I'm going to lock all our areas except for the scale. So right here we can select the scale, press A, press a dot. And now you can see our Bezier curve, which we've talked about before. And now we're going to have this overshoot effect. Now, how are we going to do that? You probably already know, but I'm going to click on this, change the handle type to free, because I want the effect to be faster when it comes in. So it comes popping in really fast and then it slows down. So we're going to take this handle, we're going to bring it upwards, and let's see what that does for us. There you go, and it's popping in. But it's not really giving the effect that we wanted yet. So I'm going to select all of this, handle type free, and now I'm going to take this one and increase the overshoot. So let's see what this does. And now it goes back. So it's kind of like whoop, and that is what we want to have. Now I do think it is a bit slow. So what we can do is we're going to take this, place an extra keyframe over here, location, rotation, and scale, and then change this handle type to free and increase the bounce even more, because we actually want to follow this linear path as well that we've already set up. Very good. I'm going to take these two and move it closer. All right, so this is going to be our bouncy animation, our scale pop in. Maybe we can emphasize it just a little bit more. Maybe we can speed it up. I don't think so. Probably looks bad. It actually looks pretty cool. So this is the way the graph editor now looks. So it comes in quick. We've got that over here. It comes in quick. Then over here it overshoots. So it is going higher than our end frame. And then it goes back to our 100%, so to say. And this is what that looks like. It's popping in, very cool. But we have about 30 frames left, and it would be very boring if this object would be standing still for the next 30 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a rotation to this, have it wobble a little bit, and then it will not be as boring as it is right now. And then we are going to add the other cans and have them pop in as well, and add some rotation to those. And then we're going to finalize the render and call it a day. So stick around, we're almost there. We are going to take this, set it to frame 50, make sure everything is unlocked. And now I am going to rotate it, something like this. Just something that might look cool. So something like so. Maybe this, or maybe this. I think this could look cool. Rotation. Let's see what that does for us. And as you can see, just kind of goes over into the rotation without any smooth transitioning. We're just going to lock the scale, lock the location. I'm going to just select the X dot, and now we can see what it looks like. And we can also learn a new trick. So I'm going over here to the pivot point and change it to individual centers. Then I'm going to press A, and what this does is we can scale these keyframes from their own respective centers. So S, X, and now when you select this, you can change the sharpness of the angle of our Bezier curve. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use this or not. I just wanted to show you that little trick. I'm going to place it back on bounding box center. And what I've done is I've selected these keyframes. First they were like over here, but I am going to place them all the way on 0. Now, what does this do? It makes sure that the rotation is already starting when it pops in. So now I'm going to close this one off. I'm going to the Y rotation, I'm going to select it, click on it. I'm going to bring every keyframe to 0. And let's see what it does for us. And go to the set location and now do the exact same thing. But for this one, it's going to be to the left. And if you think it's rotating too far around, no problem. We are going to add some extra effects to the camera to make sure that we can make this seem real smooth and cool. The way we are going to do that is by adding a curve circle and cool stuff like that. But we're not doing that right now. First, we are going to take our other cans and make sure they pop in as well and have their specific location. Click on this timeline, and as I can see on frame 15, it has fully popped in. So it's not going back anymore. This is the way it looks. I'm not really sure about it slowing down. So I'm going back into the graph editor. I'm going to press on the X first, dot, and it's slowing down, but maybe I want it to come to a full stop. This looks a lot better already. Maybe we do not even have to change the other rotations, but I'm going to check anyway because you never know. I'm going to take this one, select it, G. And now it doesn't slow down and it already looks a lot better. Going to take it on the C location as well. And maybe we can do it like this. I don't think this will do a lot, by the way. No, I'm not going to do this one. This one is fine. There you go. This looks a lot smoother. So on frame 15, our animation is done for this can. So what I want to have happen is that these other cans who do not have the main character focus, let's say, pop in at different times than this can. So I'm not going to have them all pop in at the same time. I'm going to make sure that there's a slight delay and our orange can comes popping in on the right and our blue can on the left, and it's pop, pop. So we get pop, pop, pop. So let's go ahead and do that. GX, GZ, oh, GZ. Now come closer, my friend. And for this one, I want the top to be a little bit visible because, well, we didn't model it for nothing, right? Maybe something like this can be fine. I think it's a little bit dark. We can add an extra light and use light linking in order to only brighten up this one, because I like the black can already, but the orange can now is underlit. So we need to add some extra lights, but I do not want extra lights on my black cam. So later on in this tutorial, we are going to do some light linking and make sure it all looks good. So first of all, we are on frame 15, but I want this animation to be done on frame 24. Why not? 24. Location, rotation, and scale. And then I'm going back to 10 frames earlier. How many frames did we take here? 15. So we're going to do the exact same thing. 9. Scale it on 0. I, location, rotation, and scale. And what will it do? Yes, exactly what we wanted to do. So we're going over into the graph editor. This should be second nature to you by now. I hope that this free course is very helpful for you to understand the graph editor and to really see how you can manipulate those lines in order to get the animation that you want to have. And I hope that I'm being very clear in this, in my explanation in how this works, so that you can become a great animator. We have the X location, Y location, Z location. Don't care about that. We only want to do the scale. So I'm going to set everything to lock, except for the scale. And I'm going to select all the scales and press on my dot. So right here we have the scales. Now, by now you know we can change the handle type to free. And I'm going to take this upwards. And why do I do that? Well, because we want it to be very fast in the beginning and then slow down at the end. There you go, so that it's popping in very fast, and slowing down. Now, we need our overshoot. We do not have our overshoot yet. So I think right over here, so when we place this upwards, we get our overshoot. It's a bit slow. So I'm going to place a keyframe on the 15th. Location, rotation, and scale. Bring this down. Change the handle type to free, and turn this up. No, I do not want it to pop. I think something like this should work out. It's too slow, way too slow. Let's take this, bring it up here. All right, so this is kind of what we want. I'm going to change this. Let's see, what if we do it like this? So this is the way that looks right now, and it's just a lot of playing around, but we got the pop-in animation, and that is all that counts. So it comes in very fast, as you can see from this line here. Then it scales up in the overshoot, and then it goes back to the 100% that we want it to be the normal can size. So now that we've got that, we can go over to frame 50. And what do? We're going to unlock everything, take our rotation and maybe give it something like a rotation like so. Rotation. Then I'm going to lock everything except for the rotation. Select the X rotation and let's see what we've got. Now we probably have to take this, bring it back on to keyframe 0 so that the animation rotation start. Okay. So that is unnatural. Maybe we can change that by doing the same for our Y location and our C as well. So let's see what that does. That looks pretty cool. So what about this? This is just playing around, guys. Let's check it out. Maybe we can have this go faster. Yeah, this looks a lot more natural, so I'm going to roll with this. So it comes in like so, and it does slow down in the end, but it looks better. So I'm going to roll with it. The eye rotation as well. So let's try our individual centers method. So I'm going to set it to individual centers right here. Scale on the x-axis. Maybe something like this. It looks pretty cool. So this one is done as well. And now we're going to animate the final can. And after we've got the animation of the can, we can animate our camera around it and make sure that the entire render looks cool. So first of all, going back to the timeline. And as you can see, these are our keyframes. And our blue can is hiding behind the other one. So we have to find him. There he is. Hello, blue can. Now we're clicking on 0. GX to bring it closer to us. GC to bring it upwards. GX. Something like this. Well, maybe it would be cool if this kind of looked like a lightning bolt and have it make this lightning shape. So let's see, this is frame 24 that it's ending on. So we're going over to, let's say, frame 31. That means that it's location, rotation, and scale right there. I think it took about 15 frames, so we're going to frame 16. S0, I, location, rotation, and scale. Pop, pop, pop. Very good. Pop, pop, pop. Yes. So now we can go back into the graph editor, take our can, lock everything except for the scale, select the scale, A, dot, and now we've got our scale over here. We want it to come in very quickly, you remember. I'm just going to speed through this right now. Very quickly, boom. Yeah, so it comes in quick, chuts. Now we need our overshoot, so I'm going to place a keyframe right here. Location, rotation, and scale. Select this, handle type, free, and turn it upwards like so. That's the one, and it kind of looks like the other one as well, as you remember. So it looks like this, and this one looks like this as well. And now we have a cool pop-in animation. Yay, very nice. So we're going to add the rotation once more. Go to frame 50, and let's see which way do we want to have this one rotate. I think like so. Rotation. Now we have a keyframe. Very good. Graph editor. There it is. So let's start out with the X. Going to take all of this and bring it to the front. All right. Let's see what that does for us on the Y rotation as well. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it like somewhere over here. This, pop, pop, pop. And it's moving around ever so slightly. Very good. Rotation. Going into the modifiers, you can select the modifier, and over here you can select noise. Now this is very noisy, and you will see what this does. Brrr, our can is having a lot of fun there. So we can increase the scale, make sure that it's a little bit softer, but it still wobbles around a lot. And we do not want that, but this is an animation trick that you can use. You can add random noise to certain animations to make it seem way more complicated than it really is. So I'm going to change the strength to 0.1, and this will decrease the amplitude of our wave. I'm going to set it to like 0.01. Really subtle extra animation on this. Now what you can do to copy this is you can copy the F modifier with this little button right here. Copy, go to the Y. Let's see what it does. So we've got our Y right here, and then this is the paste button. And then it adds the same noise to the Y rotation. And now it's wobbling around just a little bit more. I'm going to keep it really subtle. I just wanted to show you this animation trick because it is used very often, also in hands and arms, just to give it a little bit more motion and make it seem a lot more real than a statically animated shot. So this is something that you can do, play around with it, it's a lot of fun, and use the noise texture, increase the strength and the scale, which is the frequency and the amplitude, and have some fun with it. Either way, this is now the ending of our animation of cans, but we have done nothing for our camera. And that is what we are going to do. So I'm going over into the timeline. I'm going to select the camera. And in the end, we will do some extra lighting tricks, don't worry about it. But now we're going to select the camera. And I want this to be the final frame. And I'm going to increase the final frame afterwards, because I'm going to do a pan whip. Oftentimes what people do not realize when they make animations is that you have to make transitions in between the shots. And for that reason, it is very good to know what kind of shots you're already going to make and have them transition over into each other. And I've already thought it out for you guys in this product animation free course, so you do not have to think about it right now. But do keep that in mind when you are making your own product animations. You already know that it's going to click like puzzle pieces together in the final product, instead of having just some random shots over here, random shots over there. I'm going to add a new camera. Then over here, view, cameras, set active object as camera. And now we have a new camera. I'm going to place my 3D cursor right here. Going to go to curve, circle. Right now we've got a circle. And I'm going to press on my camera, and over here in the constraints tab, we can set a follow path constraint right here, and then select our Bezier circle. It's kind of not on our circle, and the reason for this is because the camera has a transformation location, so we have to change the location to 0. You can press on N on the keyboard, this will pop up the little window, and now you can set the location to 0. Our camera, as you can see, is located on our circle. I'm going to make it smaller, by the way, so you can view what it actually looks like. Doesn't matter if you scale the camera, by the way, it doesn't do anything for you. As you can see, it doesn't do anything. It's not centered on the objects that we want it to be centered to. So we're going to add another object constraint. It's going to be the drag to constraint. Now, when I use this little eyedropper and select our cylinder, which is our main can, then the camera is going to be aligned to that can at all times. Now, here in our follow path, I'm going to close this, we do not need it anymore. In our follow path, we can change the offset and our camera will move on our circle. Like so. And that is exactly what we want. So first of all, I'm going to rotate the circle on different axes to kind of get the same result at which we ended at. Scale it down. So this was the animation that I was going for. So right here, I'm going to location, rotation, and scale on this curve. So not on the camera, on the curve, because maybe I want to animate the curve later. And then I'm going into the camera, rotate it like from here, because this one pops in first. And then right over here, this one pops in. And that is a great way to showcase that. So I'm going to make sure that we're in the white part right over here. This is where we are beginning, by the way. So I'm going to set this to frame 0. And this is where I want my animation to end. A keyframe somewhere in the middle or somewhere around frame 35. Place a new keyframe on this offset. And why do we do that? Now I can take these keyframes and move them closer so the camera moves fast and then slows down. That's what we want. There you go. And it kind of gives this slow motion effect. And the camera is just going to keep going. Not entirely though, because it's a Bezier curve, so it comes to a slow halt at the end, as you know by now. So we have to go into the follow path in the graph editor, select it. Let's see what it looks like. And as you can see, it's already slowing down here very fast. And we do not want that, so I'm going to make it a little bit more linear. Very cool. There you go. And now it's moving all the way until the end. And that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. So we're just going to leave the curve untouched. And I think this camera move is enough for us to make it look cool. So let's see. Is there anything I would like to change? I'm not liking that we can see the line of our area light right here. Which one is it? I'm going to take it and place it backwards to make sure that this is looking clean. So I'm going to add an extra area lamp. I do not want the light to fall on all of these cans, but maybe just on the orange one. So I'm going into the object properties right over here, shading, light linking, new. I could have been more specific in my naming of these cans, but for now I am just going to drag the cylinder 001 into my light linking area. And as you can see, all of these other objects are excluded from the lighting. So I'm going to select area 009 and maybe bring it upwards like so and turn it off, turn it on. And this looks a lot better in my opinion. So now it's very dark, now it's a bit lighter and it looks very cool. And that's what we want. These droplets could be a little bit bigger. I see that I did not place a scale in the geometry nodes modifier, so I'm going to change that right now. Going over to geometry nodes, right here we have our from min and to max. So I'm going to the to max and I'm going to change this to 0.003. And now it's just a little bit bigger, maybe 0.034. And now it's just a bit bigger and we can play around with that. These ones are also pretty small, so 0.036. Let's randomize it, why not? And now all of these cans have their bubbles and droplets. So basically what we've got right now is our entire animation. It's popping in, pop, pop, pop. I do not like the fact that it's already slowing down when the blue one is still popping in. So I'm going to select this keyframe, bring it over here. No, do not like that. Maybe something like this. Ooh, I kind of like that. Shoof, shoof. So it's moving around. Shoof, 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 shoof. So it's moving very fast right here. Then it's slowing down. And it's moving very fast again. Coming to a halt. And slowly fizzling out. I think I'm just going to test it. And if it looks good, I'm going to keep it. If it doesn't look good, my bad. Gotta do it again. No matter what you do with your animation, just make sure it looks cool. I think I've taught you the basics on how to do this. I am still doubting whether I should use this camera effect or just have it go over into the slow motion like we had before. I'm going to leave it like this for now and I'll decide later on. First, I am going to the 50th frame because this is the end frame. Everything stops moving right here. I am going 10 frames in the future, which is on frame 60. And now I'm going to animate the camera going upward really fast. And using the slow motion, it will make sure that we get some blurred lines. And then we are going to start the next animation going upwards as well. Then we can transition them seamlessly between each other. Circle. It already has a keyframe on frame 50. Problem is that it is of course tracked to this object. So we have to go into the camera, to the constraints, and right here we have our influence, which means that if I take this, it is not influenced by the can at all. And I want the influence here to be 1, and here to be 0. Oh, that's going very fast. Place this on frame 60. Now it's going up. Maybe we can increase the size of this so we can go even higher. Higher. Yeah. So let's see what that did for us. Yeah, yeah. And going upwards. Very cool. And that is 60 frames. So I'm going to change this to 60 frames. Now we're going to create a new folder for this, pop-in animation. Just going to call it that. And I think we can try to use the GPU once again. The motion blur did some weird and funky stuff in the previous one, but I hope it will not do that right now. Right over here, I think we have some motion blur. So let's check it out on this frame. And it's messing up our motion blur once again. So this was the problem I was talking about before. We cannot use this, pretty much garbage. So we have to set it to CPU. And I'm going to change the max samples to 128 because it's just a lot faster like that. 0.01 for the noise threshold. Let's render it out. So you've learned how to make an outback cubic pattern in order for the object to pop into screen. Then we learned how to randomize our rotation animation using noise modifiers. And finally, we animated the camera on a path. In the next video, we're going to make a very simple wipe transition using a can that slides across the screen. It will be a very short but necessary video. By the way, if you appreciate the effort I put into this, then subscribe to this channel and you won't be disappointed. Click here to subscribe and click here to watch the next video.